their inventory information says that they're in this group. This does not have to follow the convention, the name of the query rule. I'm going to go ahead and make it super hyper descriptive. If you have already got a query that you like, you can use that. This option will probably be set, but I need to limit this to the computers in OIT. And again, we need to make sure that someone in one group doesn't make a misclick and apply software to every workstation on campus, or overwrite the SQL servers with the latest Unreal Tournament that someone is distributing. In this case, I'm going to just limit the collection to the OIT computers. And now I will edit my query statement. So anything that I gather up in this query, if the computer matches the query and it's in the collection OIT, which is predefined for every OU, then it will work. Criteria has a similar user interface. This little sunburst here is the I want to make a new criteria. There's a couple of options. 9 times out of 10 you're going to use simple value. I want to select which simple value I want to do. One of the, and again, the flexibility here is crazy. I want all the computers that installed this version of Adobe with a Dvorak keyboard. That is certainly a possible configuration. I don't want to do anything nearly that fancy. One of the most useful attribute classes is system resource. That's what SCCM Microsoft Teams call a workstation or a computer or something that can be managed by SCCM. Here's the kind of data that it has stored about it. IP addresses, SMS identifiers, that sort of stuff. What I'm interested in is a system group name. And this is the list of Active Directory groups that a workstation is in. All right. Database-y kind of queries. I want to pull out of a single group, so I would just type its name here. I'm actually going to click on the values button and wait for it to populate. This will read the database and pull out the values of everything it can find and sort them, so it does take a second. But what it will make sure of is that I see that, oh, okay, the convention is to use wolftech in caps / and then this thing. And I want to do, well, look, it actually even has this one near the top. That's unusual. So I can select it off the list. Normally, with every freaking group on campus, it would be a pain to find it, and I would probably type it rather than, or cut it out of my paste buffer. Then select it, but this time I got lucky, so I can select it. And so it has generated the query language that is needed in the Microsoft SQL that's storing all this stuff to say, if you're in OIT and if you meet, and you meet this select star from SMSR system where, if you meet that query, it will show up in this collection. Much more difficult to describe than it is to use. The collection membership is not real time. There's a process that runs on the SCCM servers to gather that. By clicking dynamically add new resources, it means that if through some means it does detect a change in the collection, it can go ahead and process that. Otherwise, it wouldn't catch it until the next time it ran. When you're debugging, you can click on the schedule and have this done. For production type stuff, we want to discourage going crazy with setting super tight dredging intervals, because it simply isn't helpful. This is a new collection, so I don't have any programs currently being advertised. Other things that I did with the wizard, or if I had gone through a different path, maybe there'd be some additional pieces. Now, I've said a couple of times that the permissions would not be right. There is no way for SCCM, which doesn't have a very good concept of distributed management, distributed administration. It pretty much says, oh, you're an SCCM administrator, you must get all rights. Well, that really can't work on our campus. If we had to trust implicitly everybody, everywhere, all the time, we couldn't work together and buy this product and make it work. So by default, the permissions at the root are set so that most folks don't get it. I actually get rights to my own thing because I created it. You really, really want to add your OU admins group to, and here's where I don't have the patience to go through the list, so I'll borrow College of Engineering and just do the typing to say I need the authorized OU admins from the Office of Information Technology. They need to have full rights. If I neglect to do this, I don't want to revoke it. If I neglect to add this, eventually we will have a program that goes through looking for collections by name and assigning the appropriate rights, so we don't get something locked out where if your account is damaged or you get hit by a bus or something, if something were to happen to jaklein.admin, any of the authorized people in OIT/OU admins could actually take this over and fix it and do stuff. We don't want to create orphans that can't be managed. You really want to do this step by hand. It's absolutely necessary at this point. It's going to be desirable for you to control who has rights to this in the future. Now, here's another place where I may stray from what is eventually determined to be best practice. I have created a OIT software packages collection, which basically has no membership rules. It's just, yeah, here we go. There are no items in it, and if I look at the membership rules, there's none. The only reason I have it is because I want to have a folder where I put all of my software distribution, because otherwise I'll be buried in the damn things. Now, again, due in part to the security, the method of moving something out of the root and into a sub-collection, I'm not even sure if this will be possible when we go live. It's certainly not particularly straightforward even now. But what I want to do is create a new link to collection instead of a new collection. And because I've highlighted the software packages, this will be a child of whatever. So I'm going to go down to OIT blah blah blah, the new group that I've created, and it basically, it looks like it made a copy. What it actually did, if you look at the properties, the database record, the collection ID 19E, is exactly the same as the original. So this is more of a soft link to the actual thing in the database. It's not a copy. Changes to one will actually make changes to another, with the exception of I can delete this version out here in the root. It will warn me, oh my god, you're about to delete a collection. What about all your software? And this is interesting to watch anyway. It warns you, oh my god, this is horrible. It will then go well, I thought it would then go through and show me everything that was linked to it. Maybe it doesn't because there's nothing linked. But at this point, I've deleted the copy that was in the root, and there's one under software packages, and it is fine and completely the same as it was prior to the creation, but now I don't have to look at it unless I open the software packages thing and want to look at it. So that's the first non-standard thing. The other